watching GVTV News.
Thanks, Amy, and I'm Randy Hansen. In today's World News headlines, House passes cybersecurity bill with expanded government powers in surprise vote. And U.S. and Japan reach Okinawa deal to decrease military presence. And, 4 U.S. soldiers killed in Afghanistan. And Secret Service probes new prostitution claims. Sex workers accuse U.S. staffers of assault in Brazil. And paraplegic Chicago man sues police for alleged abuse. And court overturns controversial sentence of black mayor in Louisiana. And student protests escalate in Chile and Quebec. And tens of thousands in Norway sing peace song derided by massacre suspect. GVTV News would like to say the views expressed on our news broadcast do not necessarily reflect the views of NCTV Digital Media Center. But before these stories, GVTV News would like to thank one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. In today's first world news story, the House has passed a controversial so-called cybersecurity measure in defiance of veto threat from President Obama. On Thursday, 42 Democrats joined 206 Republicans to approve the Cyber Intelligence Sharing and Protection Act, or CISPA, in a surprise vote. The measure would allow private internet companies like Google, Facebook, and Microsoft to hand over troves of confidential customer records and communications to the National Security Agency, FBI, and Department of Homeland Security, effectively legalizing a secret domestic surveillance program already running by the NSA. Backers say the measure is needed to help private firms crack down on foreign entities, including the Chinese and the Russian governments, committing online economic espionage. But the bill has faced widespread opposition from online privacy advocates and drawn threats of a White House veto. The measure passed after lawmakers approved an amendment that would widely expand the government's ability to use the information it collects. Michelle Richardson of the American Civil Liberties Union said the bill would severely undermine privacy rights. Oh, we still have those? The United States and Japan has finalized a deal that will scale back the U.S. military presence on the island of Okinawa by relocating soldiers to other Asia-Pacific bases. Under the pact, 5,000 soldiers will be moved to Guam, while another 4,000 will be sent to other locations, including Hawaii and Australia. At least 4 U.S. troops have died in 2 separate attacks in Afghanistan. 1 service member was killed and 3 others were wounded when an Afghan soldier opened fire in southern Kandahar. The Secret Service is investigating reports that agents hired prostitutes in El Salvador a year before a similar scandal broke out in Colombia this month. Secret Service agents reportedly got drunk at a strip club in San Salvador, paid for sexual acts, and brought escorts to the rooms, bragging that they did this all the time. The alleged incident happened in 2011, just days before President Obama arrived for a state visit. Secret Service agents and U.S. military personnel were reportedly both involved in a prostitution scandal earlier this month that overshadowed Obama's visit to Colombia. A paraplegic Chicago man has filed a lawsuit accusing Chicago police of wrongful arrest and physical abuse. Reginald Edwards, who is an African American, says he was recharging his electronic wheelchair in a restaurant when the clerk demanded he leave and called police. Edwards says 2 officers pushed him out onto the street and struck him in the face. Officers then allegedly demanded that Edwards hide his injuries from their supervisor. A federal appeals court has overturned the conviction of an African-American mayor in Louisiana whose prosecution had sparked accusations of racial bias. Bobby Higginbotham, the former mayor of the town of Waterproof, was initially convicted on allegations of illegally raising his salary and other improprieties. But supporters say Higginbotham was targeted for trying to modernize the town's police department and in the process angering the area's white sheriff and prosecutor. Higginbotham was convicted in a trial that saw a number of irregularities, including his lack of legal counsel after prosecutors blocked his attorney and public defender had a conflict of interest. Although one possible sentence was probation, Higginbotham was instead spent the last 10 months in jail. In a 2-1 ruling this week, Second Circuit Court of Appeals reversed the former mayor's conviction and vacated his sentence. Massive student protests against education cuts and tuition hikes are continuing in Chile, as well as the Canadian province of Quebec. On Wednesday, an estimated 50,000 students marched in the Chilean capital of Santiago. Meanwhile, in Montreal, at least 85 people were arrested after protests erupted over the breakdown of talks with the provincial government. The Quebec student strike is in its 10th week. Tens of thousands of people gathered in the rain in Oslo, Norway, on Thursday to protest massacre suspect Anders Behring Breivik by singing a Norwegian version of Pete Seeger's song My Rainbow Race. All across the country, Norwegians flocked to public squares to mark Breivik's trial with peaceful singing. Breivik is charged with killing 77 people in a bomb and shooting rampage, including 69 killed in the Labour Party youth camp, most of whom were teenagers. And that's it for World News Today. Now we'd like to thank one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News.
Soundcheck Music Center, the rock and roll connection. We have guitars, amps, drum equipment, sound accessories, lessons, and repairs. We are located at 671 Maltman Drive, Grass Valley. 530-272-7236, open 7 days a week.
No one needs anyone, they don't even just pretend. Jonas in America. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it.
That's right, it's time for the police blotter and pictures in the blotter, not from these actual events, but used for visual aid only. Grass Valley Police Department on Wednesday, 8:13 a.m. A caller from Condon Park reported finding a baggie of marijuana. 8:34 a.m. caller from 200 block of South Church Street reported a man yelling and another man going after the man with a club. No one was located. 12:37 p.m. caller from 900 block of Plaza Drive reported a man crawling on his belly, getting up and falling. He was arrested on suspicion of being drunk in public. 4:25 p.m. caller from 600 block of Freeman Lane reported a woman yelling for no reason for more than an hour. She agreed to move on. 5:51 p.m. a caller reported she was still yelling and screaming. she had missed her bus and was walking home. 5:36 p.m., caller from 100 block of Glastonbury reported a transient camp. 5:41 p.m., a caller from 500 block of Mill Street requested extra patrols for illegal dumping. And 6 p.m., a woman from 200 block of Colfax Avenue reported a man attacked her, destroyed items, and left. And at 8:18 p.m., a caller from 100 block of West Main Street reported a transient sleeping by a door. He was moving on. And Thursday, 12:20 a.m., caller from 1000 block of Sutton Way reported a man coming in and out of the store who was not welcome. He was given a ride. Nevada County Sheriff's Office on Wednesday, 9:43 a.m. A caller from Dishon Place reported hearing gunshots, possibly due to gopher control. 11:49 a.m. A caller from Long Valley Road reported finding a cash drawer. At 12:22 p.m., a welfare check was requested in 5 Horses in the 16,000 block of Delmar Way. And 12:24 p.m., a caller from Old Mill Road reported a juvenile had pulled a fire alarm. And 2:23 p.m., a man from Rough and Ready Highway reported he had just been jumped, had a nosebleed, but did not want medical attention or prosecution. And 7:10 p.m., an investigator was requested for a suspicious house fire in the 21,000 block of Darcy Lane. 1:51 a.m., a woman from 23,000 block of Lone Pine Drive reported someone locked her out of her house. She was arrested on suspicion of being drunk in public. In Nevada City Police Department on Wednesday, 12:58 p.m., caller from 100 block of North Pine Street reported 4 people and their dogs causing a disturbance. They were moving on. At 9:19 p.m., a caller from 300 block of Broad Street reported a transient issue. And that's it for the Police Blotter today. Now we'd like to thank another one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. Christopher's Old World Deli and Catering Company has brought its delicious food and service downtown Grass Valley. Like desserts? They got 'em. You like international style lunches? They got 'em. Christopher's Deli and Catering for parties, get-togethers, weddings, or whatever. Open 7 days a week. Bellstar Shop is a one-of-a-kind place you will find on the Ridge. Steaming hot coffee and a cool atmosphere with healthy food, organic desserts, and meals available. Belle and her smile will not be forgotten the first time you visit. In local news headlines, okay to beg, but from a distance. Nicely unsafe, intrusive panhandling hit by GV ordinance. And guns, drugs seized in Nevada City bust. And Grass Valley Police encourage community participation in drug take-back event. Burn permits required May 1st. In today's first local story, written by Trina Kleist of the Union, after hearing the complaints about aggressive panhandlers who have been more than doubled since 2009, Grass Valley City Council members voted 5-0 late Tuesday to bar the nuisance. Their action comes a day before Nevada City Council members take up a measure to ban smoking and camping in public places. Nevada City Council meets at 6 p.m. at City Hall, 317 Broad Street. Well, I think that's every Tuesday. Grass Valley's ordinance will go into effect 60 days after the second reading, expected in 2 weeks. It would make it illegal to panhandle in an unsafe place, such as from roadway median strips. It also would prohibit intrusive panhandling, such as ATM machines, banks, gas stations, and at entrances to shop centers where people cannot avoid panhandlers, said Police Chief John Foster. City resident Ted Burt urged approving of the ban. He said, "I've had panhandlers shove signs in my vehicle's windows as I was leaving parking lots." Burt said, "I've had them, if I didn't give them money, call me names. I've had them thinking I'm going to give them money, step off the curb in front of the car. They're doing it from 8 a.m. to 10 at night," he added. "At Christmas time, every single shopping center has them. They're blocking traffic." Merchants feel the ordinance would avoid problems for their customers, Downtown Grass Valley Association Executive Director Julia Jordan said. Complaints regarding panhandlers rose from 95 in 2009 to 201 in 2011, Foster said. "We're not going out there and citing everyone," Foster said after the meeting. "We'll be giving people warnings and admonishing them and using appropriate discretion." And other business and council members are doing, postponed discussion of historic preservation ordinance for the 1872 town site. Two council members, Lisa Swarthout and Jason Foyer, have a conflict of interest regarding the measure. The ordinance will be broken up into 3 parts to allow them to vote as a degree as possible. And approved looking into the ways to finance a parking management plan that would lead to paid parking downtown. In a story by Liz Keller of the Union, members of the Nevada County Sheriff's Narcotics Task Force uncovered a stash of drugs and weapons that included an assault rifle and arrested 2 men in Nevada City residents Thursday morning. Task Force served a search warrant at about 11 a.m. in the residence of 400 block of Sacramento Street in conjunction with detectives from Major Crimes Unit, as well as officers from Nevada City and Grass Valley Police Departments in connection with suspected narcotics activity, said Sheriff Sergeant Dan Saunders. During the search, officers allegedly found approximately 3 grams of methamphetamine, as well as packaged materials, baggies, and scale, as well as drug paraphernalia, said Task Force spokesman. They also allegedly found an AR-15 style assault rifle, 4 other rifles, and approximately 1,000 rounds of ammunition, the spokesman said. Carl William McIntyre, 21, was arrested on suspicion of possession of a controlled substance, possession for sale, possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of assault weapon, being under the influence of a controlled substance, and possession of an assault weapon during the commission of a felony. He'd been held in the county jail in lieu of a $37,000 bail. Joseph Montgomery Mantova, 21, was arrested on suspicion of possession of assault weapon and drug paraphernalia and being under the influence of a controlled substance. He was being held in lieu of a $12,000 bail. And this picture was just off the net, so I'm not sure if it's actual. I don't think it's from this thing. From 10 a.m. 2 p.m., Grass Valley Police Department Drug Enforcement Administration gave a public an opportunity to prevent pill abuse and theft by ridding their homes of potentially dangerous, expired, unused, and unwanted prescription drugs, bringing the medications to disposal to the Grass Valley locations: Kmart at 111 West McKnight Way and Rite Aid 720 Sutton Way, or Save Mart 2054 Nevada City Highway. Service was free and anonymous, no questions asked. Last October, Americans turned in 377,080 pounds, 185.5 tons of prescription drugs at more than 5,300 sites operated by the DEA and nearly 4,000 state and law enforcement partners. And its 3 previous take-back events, DEA and its partners took in almost 1 million pounds of pills. Well, this is kind of an anti-meth picture here. And that's it for local news today. Now we would like to thank the Union, Amy Goodman, Reuters, Associated Press, and others for the sourcing of our news, and you for watching. You can watch this broadcast, Comcast Cable, NCTV Channel 11 in Nevada County, 8 a.m., 3 p.m., 7:30 p.m., Monday through Friday, Southern Link 16 in Truckee and Alta Sierra. We're also streamed on the internet in Nevada NCTV's Digital Media Center website at nevadacountytv.org and gvtv.org. And don't forget Grass Valley Television that plays 24/7 on the net at Grass Valley Television at grassvalleytelevision.com. Here's a little thing just to fill up the rest of it. In today's world headline news, U.S. submits pledge to reduce emission by 4%. And divided Senate confirms Bernanke for second term. And Senate raises deficit ceiling to $14.3 trillion. And Obama to unveil jobs plan. And Haitians storm food sites as hospitals report medicine shortages. And U.S. cool to Karzai's overture to Taliban leaders. And Iran executes 2 arrested in election protest. Senate okays new Iran sanctions. California Senate passed a single-payer bill. And Oregon voters back progressive tax hike. And Maryland firm runs for Congress in satire of Supreme Court ruling. And author J.D. Salinger dies at 91. And Afghan Taliban deny meeting with UN, or the United Nations. And China suspends military exchanges with the U.S. In today's first story, the U.S. has formalized its pledge to reduce greenhouse gas emissions under the non-binding agreement struck by the Copenhagen Climate Summit last month. On Thursday, the Obama administration submitted its plan to reduce emissions by 17% by 2005 levels by 2020. Figure amounts to just 4% to 1990 levels used by the standard for the rest of the world. The U.S. pledge is contingent on congressional approval. Other countries to submit their reduction targets include the Marshall Islands, which pledged to reduce emissions 40%. Marshall Island Foreign Minister John Silk said, if one of the smallest, most vulnerable islands can do this, then big countries can too. Federal Reserve Chair Ben Bernanke has been confirmed to a second term. On Thursday, the Senate voted 70-30 to approve Bernanke's nomination in another 4 years. Bernanke's nomination was the most divisive of any Fed nominee in the Senate's history. His reappointment came under opposition over his role in the nation's financial meltdown and the subsequent bailout of Wall Street firms. Independent Senator Bernie Sanders was among Bernanke's vocal opponents. He said, I think ordinary people do not understand. Average American citizens have a hard time understanding how we reward failure, how we say to someone who was asleep at the switch in terms of regulating our financial institutions, congratulations, you failed. There's a major recession. You're getting reappointed. I don't think people understand why or how that should happen. The Senate also voted Thursday to raise the legal limit on government borrowing to $14.3 trillion. The $1.9 trillion increase would allow the Treasury to meet its financial obligations through early next year. President Obama is expected to unveil a new round of proposals today as part of his stated effort to help create jobs. $33 billion package would provide incentives for hiring workers and raising wages. Businesses would receive $5,000 tax credit for each worker hired next year, as well as reimbursements in Social Security taxes. On Thursday, Obama told the Florida audience that job creation was a top priority for him. The worst of the storm has passed, but I think all of you understand that devastation remains. 1 in 10 Americans still can't find a job. That's why creating jobs is to be our #1 priority in 2012. That was a quote from Obama. And Haiti continues to see scenes of chaos and desperate earthquake survivors seek food and water. On Thursday, a large crowd broke through the gates of the government buildings to storm a group of trucks holding bags of rice. Hospitals continue to report dire shortages of medical supplies, including antibiotics, painkillers. One hospital said there are 500 patients a day. Official death tolls around 170,000, expected to top 200,000. And Afghan President Hamid Karzai has announced peace overtures aimed at the top Taliban leaders. On Thursday, Karzai told the International Conference in London he hopes to negotiate a peace deal with the Taliban that would end the more than 8 years of fighting since the U.S. invasion. The Obama administration has so far refused to endorse the proposal. Addressing the same conference, Secretary Hillary Clinton said the U.S. would only seek agreement with low-level Taliban fighters, not leaders.
When it's a sing so, this little place right up on my face and the